Bernard Jackman warns Fabien Galthié is gambling his job with bold Six Nations selections. Former Ireland hooker and respected rugby pundit Bernard Jackman believes France head coach Fabien Galthié has taken a career-defining risk by dropping three of Les Bleus' most established stars ahead of the upcoming Six Nations Championship. In one of the most dramatic selection calls seen in recent French rugby history. Galthié has omitted Gregory Alldritt, Damian Penaud, and Gaël Fickou, a trio that has formed the backbone of France's resurgence over the past decade. In their place, the coach has turned to youth, naming Temo Matiu, Gaël Dréan, and Fabien Brau-Boirie as part of a clear generational shift. It is a move that has stunned fans, analysts, and former players alike. Alldritt is a former captain and once regarded as the world's best number 8. Fickou has long been France's defensive organizer and on-field lieutenant for Sean Edwards. Penaud, meanwhile, is France's all-time leading try-scorer, a player synonymous with French attacking flair. According to Jackman, this is not just a bold selection call. It is a decision that could ultimately cost Galthié his job if results do not follow. The coach already under pressure, Galthié, has never fully escaped scrutiny since France's heartbreaking exit at the 2023 Rugby World Cup, hosted on home soil. That quarterfinal defeat to South Africa remains a scar on the national psyche, one that continues to shape perceptions of the French coaching regime. While France have remained competitive since the World Cup, their performances during the November tests were underwhelming, lacking cohesion and consistency. That dip in form appears to have prompted Galthié's ruthless response. But Jackman believes the context makes the decision even riskier. With less than 2 years until the next World Cup, we've already seen the Springboks, England, Wales, and most recently the All Blacks change coaches mid-cycle. Jackman explained, the idea that Galthié is safe just because he's not at a tournament year yet, that's not the case anymore. At 56 years old, Galthié is acutely aware that modern international rugby offers little patience, even to coaches with strong track records. Ireland versus France. A study in contrast. Speaking on the RT Rugby podcast, Jackman compared Galthié's ruthless approach with that of Ireland head coach Andy Farrell, highlighting a fundamental difference in selection philosophy. If you look at two of Ireland's most outstanding players over the last 5, 6, 7 years, Bundee Aki and James Lowe, neither of them are in great form, Jackman said. But I can understand why Farrell wants them in there. He trusts them. They're big game players, and he'll hope he can get them back up to their level quickly. For Jackman, Farrell's loyalty reflects both belief in proven performers and, perhaps, a lack of equivalent depth. It's also maybe a sign of not having real alternatives. He added, France, however, operate in a different reality. If we talk about France, to be able to drop Damian Penaud, to be able to drop Gregory Alldritt, to be able to drop Gaël Fickou, that wouldn't happen in Ireland. There's no chance. That depth, Jackman argues, gives Galthié options, but also raises the stakes. The risk for Galthié is simple. If this backfires, he loses his job. Penaud, Alldritt, Fickou, why them? Each omission carries its own narrative. Damian Penaud, despite being France's record try-scorer, has endured a mixed run of form and has at times struggled defensively. Yet his ability to produce moments of brilliance makes his exclusion particularly eye-catching. Gregory Alldritt, once the heartbeat of the French pack, has looked below his best for both club and country. Jackman believes this played a significant role in Galthié's thinking. Alldritt's form hasn't been great, and they had a poor November as well, he said. That announcement is probably a reaction to that. Gaël Fickou, meanwhile, may be the most vulnerable of the three. Once the defensive leader and Sean Edwards' right-hand man, his performances for Racing 92 have been inconsistent. Fickou was the defensive captain, Jackman said, but his form has been pretty average. For the former Ireland hooker, that may spell the end of Fickou's international career. For Fickou, it could be it. Youth takes center stage while the omissions dominate headlines. Jackman was quick to acknowledge the quality of the players coming in. Matiu's very good, he said, referring to Temo Matiu. And when discussing Gaël Dréan, Jackman was particularly enthusiastic. Dréan from Toulon is unbelievably quick. He's nearly Louis Bielbayri speed. The emergence of players like Dréan highlights France's extraordinary depth, particularly in the back three, where competition is fierce and relentless. With the likes of Dréan coming through at Toulon, there are alternatives to Damian Penaud, Jackman noted. That depth gives Galthié the confidence to make decisions that would be unthinkable for many international coaches. Not written off, but not guaranteed despite the drama. Jackman does not believe all three players have been permanently discarded. I don't think they've written off those players, he said. Penaud is still going to be scoring tries for fun in the Champions Cup and top 14. Alldritt, too, may yet find a way back. Alldritt is a top-end player, but it will be interesting to see if he can find a way back in. The message, however, is unmistakable. Reputation alone will no longer guarantee selection. That Dupont's return changes everything. One factor that significantly empowers Galthié is the return of Antoine Dupont as captain. Don't forget, Jackman said, if you're bringing Antoine Dupont back as captain, you can pretty much do what you want anyway. Dupont's authority, influence, and standing within French rugby provide Galthié with a protective shield. With the world's premier scrum half leading the side, selection gambles feel less risky. At least in the short term, that a message to the squad for Jackman. The broader significance of Galthié's decision lies in the message it sends. Galthié will see this as being a message to all the senior players that nobody is safe, he said. You perform, or you get chopped. It is a ruthless but clear philosophy, one that prioritizes form, intensity, and standards over past achievements. That message extends beyond the headline omissions. Atonio next on the chopping block. Veteran tighthead weenie Atonio may be the next senior figure under threat. Although he remains involved for now, Jackman believes time is catching up with the La Rochelle prop. Atonio's in there, but I think his days are done at the top level, Jackman said. I think he has one eye on retirement. He hasn't scrummaged anywhere near what he's capable of, and he doesn't look in amazing physical shape. Atonio's absence from the November test due to injury may have spared him for now, but Jackman suspects the stay of execution is temporary. If he plays, we'll be okay, Jackman said, speaking from an Irish perspective. But I would definitely go with two tractors in the second row, Idogbo and McCarthy, to start. A defining Six Nations ultimately. This Six Nations may define Fabien Galthié's tenure as France head coach. If the younger players thrive and France delivers silverware, Galthié will be hailed as a visionary who had the courage to refresh a fading core. If results falter, however, the consequences could be swift and severe. In modern international rugby, boldness is admired, but only when it works. As Bernard Jackman bluntly puts it, Galthié has pushed all his chips into the middle of the table. The Six Nations will decide whether it was a masterstroke or a gamble that went too far.